Yay!
Super Mario Party Jamboree is filled to the brim with a bunch of extra modes that fill in the gaps for players that want to play a party game but aren't exactly in the mood for an out-and-out party mode session. But Jamboree isn't the only Mario Party to do this. I've even made a video about how Mario Party 3 added an extraordinarily unique duel mode to the list of available activities in order to keep the console's power on for as long as possible. Today, I'm going to be covering Mario Party 5's extra mode exclusive Card Party mode, and maybe give some of you a reason to dig this gem out of storage, or ethically play it in other ways. Card Party is a procedurally generated, semi-free roam, tile-based board game that uses a few of Mario Party's base mechanics as a template, kind of similar to Super Mario Party's partner mode, if you completely ignore the fact that it's basically nothing like it at all. I don't even really know why I brought it up. However, there's no minigames, no coins, and no torsos for our unfortunately sized cast. So what does it bring to the table that a standardized round of Mario Party doesn't? Well, first off, it's a more traditional board game that you could actually imagine a group of people being able to sit down and play without the need to worry about having to explain a bunch of things all at once. It's very simple in practice. Get more stars than your opponents do before they're all gone from the board. But I'm here to cover all of the minutia and bells and whistles that go on in between character select and the finish screen. So let's do just that. Card Party can be played in one of 4 game sizes at a time: 7x7, which is considered short, 8x8, which is considered standard, 9x9, which is considered long, and 10x10, which is considered the longest. The numbers correlate to how many spaces on the map that there will be, and in what shape, square, for players to wander through. For the remainder of this video, I will refer to them as tiles, since that's more in line with how they function in-game. Every tile on the board is presented in one of 4 types: blank, item, star, and event. When a player moves through an unflipped tile, it will reveal one of many space configurations underneath it that players must travel through in order to reach their next tile. Like I said earlier, these configurations are procedurally generated and change with each game played so that they always feel different with each round of Card Party. Mario Party roguelike mode? Just kidding. Unless someone call Iron Pineapple. After turn order is established via a random lot, players are allowed to choose where they will begin their trek into the randomized board. This starting position can be on any side of the board laid out in front of you, with the only stipulation being that it must be up against a blank tile. I'm assuming that this is to prevent any players from being able to claim any star or item tiles too early if they happen to have spawned on the outer edges of the map. Once everyone's gotten the chance to choose their starting location, it's time for the game to begin. Let's not so quickly go over each individual tile type to have a better idea as to what sort of randomness that you can come to expect when encountering each one. Blank tiles are consistently the most plentiful tile type on the board, and generally one of the safest movement options in the game. Occasionally, you can discover a hidden die underneath that'll let you continue your turn for a little bit, and that's just the best thing ever, holy smokes. As you probably noticed, Card Party uses a d6 die for all of its movement rolls, so the maximum distance every player can roll each turn without any sort of aid is 6 spaces. It's worth noting that every individual space configuration will only ever need a roll of 3 to completely move through it, so you can kind of gauge where you're able to go as soon as your die roll finishes. Item tiles grant you an item card. Shocking, I know. Chosen at random, and then added to your inventory. Every item in the game can only be used at the start of your turn, so you'll have to wait until everyone else has had their roll before you have the chance to use it. Item tiles are without a doubt the safest option to travel through, as they have no negative side effects outside of literally not giving you a star card, or maybe saddling you with an item that you're not particularly fond of. There are 3 items that can be granted to players from item tiles, and they are the Cursed Mushroom, which halves an opponent's dice roll, chosen by roulette, from 1 to 6 to 1 to 3 the next time that it is their turn. This is by far the worst easiest item in Kart Party, as it seems is the case with every Mario Party game. They really can't make this thing good. The roulette is kind of hard to hit, so specifically sniping a problem player is sort of up to chance unless you practice the timing, and it still only affects one player. It can also be completely cleansed by the next item, the mushroom. This lets you roll 2 dice this turn instead of 1, and cleanses the cursed mushroom status effect. Not much to say here, it's basically just 2 turns in 1 turn. You can also still find hidden dice to further increase your turn, so try to enter as many blank tiles, star tiles, and item tiles as you can to prevent your opponents from being able to capitalize on them. And now we have the warp pipe. This item transforms any user-bordering non-event tile into a one-space 4-way junction and then reveals all connecting non-event tiles in a plus shape. That was a lot of words to explain something that on screen looks very simple. Just know having to write it down was an agonizing experience. It's especially worth noting that revealed walls can be destroyed and opened up with a warp pipe, though holding on to one if you're heading into any of the corners of the map can keep you safe from being boxed in. This is by far the most powerful item in the game, though what's up with the item description? Turns a space into a warp pipe that snares everyone. Bestie, that does not happen in any shape or form. What are you on about? The only thing I will say about item tiles is that heading for them over star tiles is only a good idea if you're betting on gaining a mushroom so that a nearby opponent can't do the same. Item tiles are fine, though I do feel like there could have been more variety in order to open up more skill-based play options for players. Star tiles are the most important tile set in the game, as they are where you are able to naturally obtain fresh and valuable star cards. Whoever has the highest total of stars from their star cards at the end of the game is declared the winner. You may be wondering what I mean by that. Well, obtaining stars in Kart Party is a bit different than how it works in your standard party mode. When you enter a star tile, your star count will change depending on what star card is revealed. Plus 1 star for a single star card, plus 2 stars for a double star card, and minus 1 star for a single Zatar star card. Yup, there are Zatars in Kart Party. And get this, I've had games where literally half of the star tiles are Zatar cards, and I've had games where there isn't even a single Zatar card on the entire map. Zatars add so much randomness to an already exceedingly random board game, and it makes Kart Party feel so unique and different every time that you play. Kart Party is an exceedingly casual experience, and I wouldn't get too invested on who's winning unless you're gambling something important on the outcome, which I would not recommend. There's also an exceedingly rare star tile event where the flipped star card will transform into its opposite form, a single star into a single Zatar and vice versa. It took me, no joke, 4 days of recording 3 hours each day to get this to happen. Your guess is as good as mine on what the percentage chance of this actually happening is. We'll get to why in the upcoming event tile section, but I wanted to speak about why I keep saying star cards instead of just stars. Just like items, flipped star cards are added to your inventory whenever you obtain them, and just like in party mode, these are subject to being stolen or taken by certain event tiles or your opponents. You'll see why this is important in just a bit. Event tiles are by far the most dangerous tile to uncover, as there are a few flatly negative events that you can be subjected to. However, they're also the best possible tile to get yourself out of a bind in a pinch, so consider them a necessary evil. There are 5 possible events that you can encounter from an event tile, with the first 3 being without a doubt the most negative to see. Swap places with a random opponent, get sent back to your starting position, and get sent to a random revealed space on the map. The reason that these are inherently negative stems from the direct differences between Kart Party and Party Mode. Whereas in a standard party, getting sent all around the map can be beneficial as star locations frequently change. In Kart Party, tiles never change positions, so having to retread the same ground that you already have simply puts you behind other players in a momentum sense. You absolutely do not want to have to retread the same ground that you already have, and that makes event event tiles exceedingly dangerous to flip over early or late game. Also, every single one of the events that I just listed immediately ends your turn. So if you happen to have rolled high, gotten an extra die, or God forbid invested a mushroom into this whole thing, you've just wasted that movement potential on a completely negative outcome. The real reason that you hit event tiles are for the last two possible events. The boos. White boo lets you steal an opponent's star card, chosen by roulette. If your opponent has multiple star cards, then one is also chosen by roulette. If the roulette choosing an opponent to steal from lands on a player that does not have any star cards, then nothing happens and the boo will leave. Remember, a double star card and a Zatar star card are, well, star cards, meaning that your opponent being given the chance to steal a star card from their opponents is not always a beneficial move, as they can end up with a negative 1 star point by ending up with an unwanted Zatar star card. Or you could get the double star card and tell your opponent where they can shove it. Obtaining a Zatar is technically a negative thing, but it acts as a possible shield for the positive star cards in your inventory. And this is why this game mode freaking rules, man. This is also by far the most balanced form of Boo's Star Steal in any Mario Party to date, as simply encountering Boo in this way is not always guaranteed to benefit you or even target someone that has anything worth stealing. More randomness, baby. I eat that up for breakfast. The other Boo event is the Red Boo, which is a more antagonistic version of the previous Boo event. If you happen to have a star card in your inventory upon activating this event, then Red Boo will steal it and give it to a random player. Once again, this can include Zatar star cards. Purging some bad luck by washing it down with some good luck is what event tiles are all about. This does mean that there are basically 4 negative event tile events if you're in first or even second place, though I'd recommend avoiding these like the plague unless you were absolutely forced to flip them over if you happen to be winning. That's all of the tiles, but I've still got a few things to talk about before we wrap up here. Card Party has an interesting quirk with its movement system. As I'm sure you've noticed from the footage that I've been showing, the majority of the movement is freeform unless you're moving through a hallway tile. When you choose a direction to move, you're locked into that decision until you come to another junction where you must choose yet another direction to move. However, you're also always prompted to choose which direction to move in at the start of your turn, meaning that if you find yourself moving towards something that you didn't intend to and your turn ends, you can actually turn around and go the opposite way to avoid it come your next roll. It's a very minor thing, but it can come up in some niche scenarios, so I thought I'd at least mention it. One other thing that sets Card Party apart from your standard party mode session is how Bowser and his minions are handled.
Ganon and his minions.
Hidden beneath 1 or 2 blank tiles on the map are either Koopa Kid or a Bowser tile. When you encounter one of these, one of a couple events can take place. Koopa Kid usually just applies the cursed mushroom status effect to whoever revealed the tile, or can actually just end up calling Bowser in so that they can activate one of their more substantial events. I have literally 0 footage of Koopa Kid appearing because they never showed up even a single time during my recording sessions, even when I had 4 controllers plugged in and used everyone's turns specifically to flip over every blank tile on the map. Please forgive me. Anyway, Bowser himself has 3 possible events. Star Present, which gives a random player a Zatar, Item Shuffle, which randomly shuffles all players' items amongst each other, and Bowser Breath, which sends every single player on the board back to their starting position. Something you may have noticed about Bowser's events is that none of them explicitly punish the person who actually flipped the Bowser tile exclusively. A Star Present can actually just end up sending a Zatar to one of your opponents, and Item Shuffle can end up netting you some sweet items for the low cost of absolutely nothing. I mean, I guess technically seeking out the Bowser tile is a cost, but there's no way to intentionally find a Bowser tile, as it's quite literally like finding a needle in a haystack or a Bowser in a tile stack. Item Shovel is a little bit of a tall ask to find a whole lot of use for, as most players and computer opponents end up using their items as soon as they are able. So the max amount of items that you would even end up receiving would be very low, if at all. This is another event that I have no footage of it occurring, just because I don't think it activates when people don't have items. Bowser Breath is by far the most substantial event, given how much I spoke about how detrimental retreading the same ground is in Card Party. And finally, we have game events known as last card events. These only occur when there is a player in 4th place, it is explicitly their turn, and only when there is a single star tile left on the map. These events are Card Party's last-ditch attempt to add a little bit of randomness to the game and maybe get one of those mythical come-from-behind victories everyone is such a fan of. The last card events are as follows. Dice bonus, which permanently increases 4th player's dice count to 2. This is really cool if you've managed to hold on to a mushroom or two, since it's the only way for Card Party players to roll 3 dice blocks. Item present, which essentially acts like the grab bag item from Mario Party 3. 4th place receives up to 3 random items in order to fill up their item inventory. This one is probably the worst one to get, since curse mushrooms literally do absolutely nothing, and I can't see a mushroom or warp pipe clearing up any star card differences unless you literally start spamming event tiles and hoping for the white boo event. Star chance, which lets 4th place roll 2d6 die with a single star on one of each of the dice faces, and receives as many stars as each star face that lands face up. Literally having to write that in a way that makes sense when it's literally as simple as rolling 2 die, that's insane. Why is it? The English language is so stupid. Hard to say that I don't like this one, since it does have the chance to give you the win if the star difference isn't too bad. Rolling 1 star is a 1 in 6 chance, or 16.67%, and rolling both stars is a 1 in 36, or 2.778% chance. Not the best odds in the world, but they're free stars. Can you really complain? Yes. And stop time, which lets last place roll a d6 to determine how many turns that every other player is unable to move. Have you noticed how all of these events kind of do the same thing? The most important 2 things to have in Card Party are high movement and luck, and that's what most of these try to give you, albeit in a too little too late sort of sense. Card Party, by design, is a very quick and simple board game, and due to that fact, what players need to do in order to win is to exhaust the board's resources as quickly as possible. High movement, outside of spamming event tiles hoping for the 20% chance white boo event, does nothing when those resources are already gone. This isn't a critique specifically about Card Party, by the way, it's just the nature of creating simple board games. You end up with simple rules that have simple uses, and that's what Card Party is all about. It's just a little mode you can play when you're bored of Mario Party 5's party mode. The only thing that I'll add onto the last card events section is that due to it requiring a player to be in exactly 4th place, a last card event can actually not end up happening at all. Unlike the final 5 turns in a standard party, if you have 2 or 3 players tied for different places in the ranking, then no one is able to be in 4th place. Also, if both the second to last and actual last star tiles are flipped before 4th place is allowed to take their turn, that will also snipe a last card event from being a possibility. There's not a terrible amount of strategy involved in Card Party, but keeping this in mind can end up helping you out in some niche circumstances. And honestly, that's about it for Card Party. It's just a fun little side thing to mess around with and maybe give people complaining about Jamboree's pro rules a mode to play where almost everything is in the hands of the RNG gods. I'm not saying that to make fun of anyone, by the way. We've all got our likes and dislikes, and no one should be forced into doing anything that they don't want to, video games or otherwise. So that's the video. The next Mario Party subject is going to be Mario Party 5's Super Duel Mode. If you're unfamiliar on what that is and think it's similar to Mario Party 3's Duel Mode, you were like way off, Oomphaliscious. Has anyone told you you're looking amazing today? Anyway, subscribe if you're new. We're on our way to 10K, and I'd like to get there before the end of the year. We're moving, we're cruising. Consider becoming a patron to get your name at the beginning of every video and to help fund my love for commissioning people for thumbnail art. I love women, huge fan of women. I've got a Discord in the description along with every other pertinent link, and my community there is pretty chill and quiet. Come say hi. Let me know your thoughts on my content in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Love you lots. Bye.